What's up everyone, James here, and today I'm really excited. I've been to my local fish shop today and just purchased myself a brand new coral for the reef tank or lagoon behind me. It's one that I've been wanting for absolutely ages now, kind of ever since I got into the sort of the saltwater side of the hobby, which is a Hammerhead Euphyllia. It's such a cool looking coral, and yeah, I'm really excited. So yeah, this video is all about me acclimating and getting it into the tank. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so before we get into adding the coral to the aquarium, it's just a little update on what's going on in the tank at the moment. As you can see, I done a water change yesterday, about 50%, because I'm currently getting a bit of an algae bloom at the moment. You can kind of see it appearing on the rocks here, and it was all over the back there. So I've given everything a good scrub down, filtration, really cleaned out that sort of a little bit more in depth. And yeah, and try to sort of vac the substrate. So we're getting there, and I'm hoping that yeah, just a few big water changes is going to help, and yeah, sort of get this aquarium sort of balanced out. But yeah, as you can see, the Brightfryed in the back there, I'm really pleased with this because the bubbles on this, or the grapes, the red grapes there, they actually sort of died off, so it just left the stems, but everything seems to be grown back really well with that. This green bush macroalgae here seems to be doing really well. It's sort of started to sort of grow shoots sort of at the end here, which is really great. And where is it? My Calepa racemosa is probably the one that sort of hit me the hardest. This is all I've got left at the moment from the big batch that I added. Most of it died off, but or went sexual, which is a bit of a shame, but I managed to sort of trim it up and sort of getting rid of the old pieces that were sort of going sexual, and yeah, it seems to be growing back really nicely. So yeah, this is about 2 weeks growth, I think it is, so it's doing really well and it grows really quick, so I'm really chuffed with that. My green star polyp here on the sort of the substrate is doing really well, and the fragged one there, yeah, so we're getting there, and I think the tank looks really good so far. I'm hoping that once the macroalgae sort of really kicks in, that this is going to look such a really nice tank, especially hopefully as it grows sort of throughout the back and everything, you know. So and I'm hoping that this sort of torch coral here, or hammerhead, is going to be really nice, and yeah, my clownfish maybe will even host it, who knows. So yeah, let's get the coral out of the bag though, and yeah, let's acclimate it and then dip it. So it's been a few hours now since adding the hammer coral. It seems to have started very slowly coming out. I think what I'm going to do, as this coral is known to sting other corals that are very close by, probably just sort of move these zoas just a little bit away. I'm not 100% sure if this is where I'm going to keep this, so just put it there just so I can sort of keep an eye on it. Ideally, I'd like to probably put it on one of the rocks at the back there or something, but we'll see how we go for a little while at the front there, and then maybe move it. That's why I've just got my GSP there, just so I can sort of work out what's sort of happening and where I want to put things, but I don't want to make any sort of commitment yet. So I think whilst we're waiting for the coral to sort of come out of itself, it might be pretty cool to just go through a few little bits and pieces in terms of the coral. So the hammer corals come from most commonly the Pacific and Indian Ocean. Hammer corals, or Euphyllia, are a LPS coral, which means large polyp stony. So it actually means that they're made of a sort of a stone skeleton, effectively. So they're not like softer corals, which are, you know, they don't have any stone to them, sort of thing. These ones actually do, which means that, like, fragging them, you have to cut them off or use a sort of a Dremel or something just to frag them, but they are easily fragged, so what I've read, so I'm hoping to do that at some point in the future, you know, just to sort of get a few frags going so I can sort of grow them and sell them on. So that should be pretty cool. As I said earlier, the coral itself can be a bit aggressive, from what I've read, so it's best to keep them away from other corals, just so they don't get too territorial. If you have like torch corals and other hammer corals, apparently they will be fine with those. So that's the only one I've got at the moment, but it's just good reference to know for the future. In terms of feeding and stuff, a lot of people sort of recommend that you do spot feeding using maybe mysis shrimp or some sort of coral food. So I will be trying a various, you know, a few different bits and pieces there just to sort of see what works for me. As again, because it is a stone sort of based coral, it absorbs calcium out of the water, which means that I need to monitor my sort of calcium levels every so often. I think that from what I've read again, that you should have enough sufficient calcium in your water from the salt that you mix with your RO water. So I should be fine with them as long as I do sort of regular water changes and that. So I think that I should be okay, but it's also worth mentioning, you know, that they absorb calcium too. And also copper. Apparently, you know, any traces of copper in your water is also detrimental, which is why it is recommended to use like RO water just to avoid any sort of copper getting into the aquarium, because apparently they're very sensitive to copper, just like most corals really. So I think I'll call it there. What I'm going to do is sort of keep an eye on the coral, and then in a few days time I'll get some B-roll footage of the coral, hopefully out and flourishing and looking really cool. But for now, all I want to say is thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. If you want to support the channel, there's links in the description below regarding my merch store, my Patreon, my other social media platforms if you want to follow along. And yeah, I put out weekly videos on all of my fish keeping antics, so hopefully there's something for everybody. And until next time, you stay safe.